All right. Well, welcome everyone to this little lesson. Today we're going to be painting this beautiful natural flower that grows in the wild called the lupine flower. And we're going to be using the catalyst wedge tool. And this is a special request from one of my students. And so if you want to leave me a comment of something you want to paint, I have dahlias and hyacinth on the list. And so today we're going to do lupines. I'm from Canada, where they grew every spring. They would come up along the walkways, and they were just a real joy to see. And so I am happy to be painting this. So here's the colors I'm using. I've got out um, this is the Amsterdam sap green, which I like because it's dark. And today, I'm just using it to fill in some foliage and everything. And I got some cadmium yellow deep hue. And I've got out this primary red and primary blue. And these are about $5.99 a tube. The reason I have moved to using these is because, I'm putting on so much paint at one time that I really don't want to be spending it on golden acrylic paint. So I go for something a little cheaper. So I'm going to put out a little more of that primary yellow to have a little bit of a lighter yellow. And I'm using this tray. It's just a mixing tray from Michael's as well. Another thing I like to do is use my Michael's coupon on these things. And then I have this little mister. So this does a finer mist than just your regular mister, so it won't get your paint too wet. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am just going to quickly put in some of those lupine stems. So I've got out my reference photo, and of course when I edit this video I will add them into the video. So I'm just looking at my reference, and then I'll just bring that up here. Okay, so I have these really beautiful from Pixbay, just some simple picture of them. And then I want to have sort of a sunset kind of effect. So I'm just going to go and put in a few stems so that I have a direction of where these are going to go. And also because a lot of you are new to my channel and new to painting with this catalyst wedge tool. So this will just help us kind of have some direction and, give you an idea of where to start piling the paint. So I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I'll put a few of the stems here just to give us an idea of where it's all going to go. And then another thing is the background. I blocked this in using I mixed up a pink color using the red and the cadmium deep to create this pink, and then some dioxazine violet, and I used a bit of quinacridone red. Just sort of wipe that on there just to make it also a lot easier for mixing. Okay, so I'm gonna go straight to mixing and working on some of these lupines. So I want them to be kind of the bluey pink ones. There's lots of different ones, but all kind of, they're mostly going to be blue, but I'm going to add a little of that primary red into the mix just to get that kind of bluey purple. It's also why I kind of painted the canvas that color down here, just so that there'd be bits of it coming through with the green. So I'm going to use the tip of my Catalyst Wedge tool just to look at, I'm just going to enlarge my reference here. Yeah, so there I can see it better. And of course, when you're painting something impressionistically, you know, you're not going to be going for the details. You're going to look at the overall shape and sort of the marks to make that will clearly give you that lupine look. So you just want to keep that tip loaded as you dab the paint. And not every mark turns out great. I'm new to this myself, so you'll find you make some that are just amazing and some that don't really leave a mark. But so far you can see the effect of that, and it's coming to life, well, at least in my mind. With the background, it's coming to life really magically. So clearly the best way to make the mark, I've discovered as I go here, is to keep it facing out like this, get some of that blue, primary blue paint, and keep it on that, and the mark comes down from the tip, and you get the mark that you want, I think, a lot easier that way. All right, so there's one lupine, one down, a few more to go. So then I'm gonna do the same, just sort of dab, and it will work on the tips. The tips are sort of where they haven't bloomed, and we'll work on getting that expressively. And of course, you can see as I warm up, I'm getting more of that impressionistic flow to it. I'm not as, like over here, I was a little timid with the marks. So clearly, when you're not thinking too hard, that's the best way to go with these kind of free and loose marks. And you just really, that's the whole point of using a tool like this. Is for me, I could never really loosen up, and I couldn't master using a really super large paintbrush either. So I started painting with this, and I decided it would be my 2025 journey to play and practice this while I have a Patreon channel. And you know, when I could just tell everyone kind of wanted to practice loose painting, so that's what I decided to focus on this year. I've got lots of really impressionistic oil paintings as well on that channel that you can take a look at, but this is more my focus for this for now, because I've got tons of those other types of videos up there, and not a lot of these more, I would say, more challenging for me because they're more daring, more brave. Sorry, my nose is running. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going, and I might even give my flowers a little spritz with my spritzer, just to keep the paint kind of from totally drying out, because I want to go in and add some different shades and highlights. And so I'm really just kind of going at it now, and it's all new territory for me, because you know, even the background I thought is a kind of a new thing, painting in the sunset like that. But when I was asked to do this, I thought, well, that's great, because I love these flowers. So hopefully, whoever it was, I forget, I'll look it up and make sure they get a hold of this video. And so I'm filming this differently than on the easel. I'm filming it with my Logitech camera facing down today, so you can kind of see it better. And could use the edge of our palette knife and just sort of you can put in a few green marks here and there. And there you go. So let me just wipe this off. And now the top of the lupine flower has a little bit of a lighter kind of green. It has a bit of a pale, kind of a lime green. So I'm just going to mix up something a little bit like that there. And it has a little bit of the blue, of course. The whole thing is you just kind of have to get used to, you know, loading your brush up a little bit, and then you'll get the hang of what kind of angle using this tool kind of gives you. I'm just gonna finish that, and then if you make a mark, say these ones are maybe too green there, you can always go back and kind of dab more blue on just to make up for it. And then I want to add a bit of that, just wash that green off my palette knife. And someone gave me an idea, and I'll use it in this video to try it out, is a baby wipe. And that really works good there. So I'll use that, thanks for that suggestion. And so yeah, I'm going to get a little bit of that blue and that primary red and mix up sort of that purpley magenta kind of color, and kind of add some white in there. And I'll add a little bit of a kind of some of that light and purpley color in there, just to add some variety. It's a lot of fun, and it's very kind of relaxing when you have used a paintbrush forever and a day, and then you switch to something like this. It's a very tactile sort of thing. You get a whole different feel for putting the paint down. And I also like how thick the paint kind of sits on there. And so like I say, I use these tubes of paint. They're like, $5.99 each sort of thing. Okay, so now I've got those lupines looking pretty nice in there. I'm gonna go and I could just add a little bit of some white to the blue. Get a few of those those brighter lupine blues. I'm trying to mix this up and get a few of those ones up there. I'm trying to avoid the bits of green that I got over there. So if you're not careful, you gotta watch like not getting your color too mixed up. So if you do that, just get a new puddle of blue and white just for doing some clean kind of highlights here and there. And it's acrylic dries a lot darker, so but I'm gonna make some darker marks. So I'm paying attention to the kind of overall, gist of the way they grow and everything too when I do this. Not just randomly. I am randomly doing it, but I'm also kind of paying attention to the way the flower grows. And it's getting a lot more texture as I go too. All right, I'm just gonna add a few more little dabaroos up there. And this one's kind of, and then I'm gonna work on I'll add a little bit of the sap green into that blue. And then I'm going to, because you kind of want a variety of greens when you do leaves. You don't want just one green, you want a few different greens. Just gonna give my paint a little spritz here. So I'll kind of mix up a bit of this. And some kind of like you're making icing or something. And then I'm gonna just look at my reference photo and put in a few different green strokes here and there, just to show that it's growing in a field. just kind of use the edge of the tool for that. Just keep loading it up, so it's sometimes hard to get that, that whole mark working, but I really like that effect. The leaves give the whole thing too. Kind of gives it a nice really wildflower look. Okay, now I'm going to get my sky color going because I want to add a little bit more texture on there. So I really want to make sure my spatula is cleaned off so I don't get green all over that. So just maybe use the wipe after, really wipe it off, and then I'm going to use this some of these light pink tones that are like the sky, but then I'm going to add some texture to it. So I really want a clean area, so I might just use my handy dandy baby wipe and get that cleaned off. There, so I can mix up a few different shades. So I'm going to get some clean primary red, and I'm going to put up some clean cad yellow deep. I really don't want this yellow mixing in with my sky color. Okay, and a bit more white. And I'm going to use my palette knife to mix up some different shades of that sky. So I like to usually do a couple values. So I got this lighter value, I got sort of this little bit darker value, and of course you don't really ever know what you got until you put it on the canvas. But that looks pretty good. And so I'm going to just put some of that on there, because as much as I see a lot of videos, they're quite happy with this sort of background with the flowers just kind of pasted on top. One thing I don't enjoy too much, I kind of like to have some texture, because it makes sense. If you have texture in your painting, you kind of have to keep a consistent feeling to it. So I'm just gonna get that going around. And I'm going to give my canvas a little spritz so that I really don't mind the color showing through. That adds to it too. But you just gotta, I feel like you gotta have something to break it up a little. And this is sort of like your Pacific Northwest sunset. We're used to different sunsets here in the desert where it's more blue sky with kind of cotton candy clouds, but I remember lots of skies that look like this when I grew up in Canada. And so when I came here and I painted skies this color, people they sometimes said I had to change the sky. So I'm kind of going and just, I thought for the lupines, it's sort of one of those flowers, the blue with the orange, sort of, I feel like that pinky coral color with the blue is a really good combo. Okay, now I'm just gonna go and add the rest of the sky color, and I'm just gonna go back to my palette knife, my catalyst wedge tool, just to get some broader, quick strokes and show you how easy it is to get this canvas looking nice and textured up and colored up real pretty fast. So mix up a darker sky color for down where we're getting into the lupines, and so I kind of push it down, and that squeezes the paint back to the front of the spatula tool. So you get used to that, you know, how to get the paint off of it without having to scrape it on the edge of something. I've learned to sort of just really put the pressure down, and then it kind of squeezes it back. Put some of those sky holes into the grass. And I like to cut some of the background into my painting because it looks a little more painterly when you do that. So I'll cut in some of that background into the flowers a bit. And if I was painting this, you know, and I wasn't trying to get it done so quick, you know, obviously you could spend more time than I am on the sky and the details and everything. But you kind of get the idea of how to go about painting some lupines on a canvas. And that's kind of my goal, is to give you a place to start, and then you can really take time on your own painting and finish it up however you want. You could add clouds, you could add trees in the background. Just look on Pixabay and you can get reference photos royalty free there. And I give them to my downloadable ones from Pixabay for my Patreon members. Sometimes I forget to upload them though, so there's always something. Okay, so I really like this painting. As it dries and gets darker, and on your own as you paint this, and then kind of see things that you can add. One thing you might want to do is just go back and add a tiny bit of white to that primary blue, and you could go and add a few more just a few lighter petals, because the bottom, it does dry darker, the acrylic. I did buy a bunch of oil. I found a really good brand of oil paint is by Lucas, a German company, and they're really good, but for some reason they're a lot cheaper. And so I ordered them, and then I'll do a video using the oil paint to do the spatula painting. Sorry, it's hard to talk and paint after a while. But yeah, I'll be excited to show you that, because I know a lot of you I know a lot of you paint in oil, so I'm looking forward to trying it out. I just didn't want to use my water mixable Cobra brand because it was this paint's a lot cheaper. It's like you get a big tube and it's going to be a lot cheaper. So the main thing is taking time to learn kind of how you can make your marks and what works, how does it go on best for you when you load up your wedge tool. You know, what works best for you, what angle. And I've been learning, and it's just a little bit of a learning curve, but it's been really fun to do, and it seems to be striking a chord with a lot of people that have wanted to loosen up their painting. So I'm really thankful that I did it. I just thought, I don't care. I was always trying to make paintings that look, you know, super perfect, you know, as much as I could make a painting that look perfect, but you know what I mean. And I just decided, I like those crazy paintings that you can't really tell what it is, but you know it's flowers, or you know, and it's like, but to do it is another thing. It's a lot trickier. Just to say you're going to loosen up, and then to actually loosen up is another thing. Okay, well, I'm gonna, maybe one more thing I could do is just add a few, whoops, make sure you mix your paint, and let's take that down a little. Put a few lighter green highlights in there, just to add to add to it a bit. And then here's a suggestion. If you want to do something additional, you could add and I might do it on a different time, not for this video because I'm just doing the lupines, but you could this is a perfect spot to put a hummingbird or one or two bumblebees. So that's just an idea that you could add your own little creativity. Add a bird or a bumblebee. So anyhow, I really enjoy this painting with you, and I really I'm happy with how it kind of came out. You can see all the brush strokes and all the thick paint on there, and I'll look forward to the next lesson with you. If you like my content, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and share it with one of your fellow painting friends. Anyways, bye. Happy painting.